Come on. I was orphaned at 15. Hey. Yo. My dad was in prison before I was born. I never met him. My mom committed suicide when I was 15.
It's pretty daunting that a little Montana girl is going to be able to have a national effect on the foster care system.
We set out to design, intentionally, the worst possible child welfare system, it would look like the system we have.
We move them from a situation of risk to one of danger when we place them into these temporary systems. That's just made worse when temporary becomes forever.
The system can never provide real love. Real heart-bonded love like a mother has.
Somebody should have taken the time to find me a family, would have stuck with me. Find me one placement that's gonna work. Find me the one placement so I don't have to go through 13.
Because after foster care, too, they don't really prepare you for the outside too much. I mean, I got sent out on my ass, sleeping under bridges and shit.
As a foster child, you always feel different no matter how much they try and make you feel like you're in that family and you're part of that family, you know you're different.
I needed somebody who gave a damn, and not because they were getting paid to give a damn.
And it breaks you down, makes you hurt, tears your heart, kills your belief and your vigor for life. Rejection hurts. It's absolutely hell to grow up switching place to place.
How we care for young people in this country really defines the strength of us as a country, and it matters.
Like any good social worker, you know, you get into it because you want to change the world.
Why are you being such a bonehead today? Come here. Heel. Hey, halt. Kick it. My mom was severely mentally handicapped. She took a lot of medication. She was abusive, verbally and physically. There's not a person in the world that I'll hear say that my mom didn't love me. Because she did, but she did it the best she could. Sometimes she couldn't do it any better, so. This is my happy day spot. Rewind! Most 18-year-olds aren't doing this. Having a normal life doesn't appeal to me. My best day I've ever had was $175. I make more money than most of the homeless because I'm a performer. People would realize that just walking by me and smiling at me makes my day, rather than the people that are like, oh, that's a homeless kid. Oh, don't look at him. You want a relationship. You want people to treat you like a person, not some messed up problem kid. That's why I love it so much, is I meet so many new people and assholes like that tell me to get a job. That's a problem. Yeah, you're an asshole. I'm not begging, I'm a performer, faggot. All right, peace out, guys. Most important thing to me in my life right now is my dog, my girlfriend. Family to me is what means something to you. My friends are my family. Oh, hey. I have the most wonderful girlfriend in the world, Paula. She's the best thing that's ever happened to me, ever. She's the greatest influence on me. She's the one that helps me get through stuff nowadays. We're in an apartment, it's an abandoned apartment, but we're gonna try to take over the lease. She makes me want to go to work, get money and have a place, you know, to sit down and cuddle and watch movies, things like that.
Had a dream I was walking in the sunshine, No, it ain't right, it ain't my life, why is it so dark at night? Though it'd be nice if I had a day so bright. Start of my dream, I just woke up. A 4-leaf clover clenched in my hand like what? Mama yelling from the kitchen, it's time to wake up. Sun pancakes, hang in your favorite cup.
I have that one, I just thought it was pretty. And then I have that one, which I designed myself. You can probably see part of this. Those stars, like, I think they're awesome. And then I have one that says only God can judge me on my lower back. I got my first one when I was 18, and then the rest I've gotten up until last month, I think was my last one. I lived with my grandma until I was 11. My mother was otherwise incapable of caring for me and my brother, so that's where we both lived. But she was really sick. She had that brainstem tumor, and it was really hard for her to try to raise 2 kids being sick and on a very limited income. I've been in 13 placements from the time I was 11 to the time I was 18. It was never my choice to move anywhere. I was told, you're going here or you're going there, and it's because we say so, and that's how it has to be. Probably my first placement I ever really had, group home-wise, it kind of came as a shock. I was living with some foster parents at the time, and I was told that we were looking for a friend's house. I remember my foster dad telling me that I was going to live in this place, and it was called a group home, and I had to go in there now, and all my stuff was in the trunk, and I remember sitting in a chair just pretty close to like this, and I remember feeling like I was falling out of the chair the whole time. Living in group homes and treatment centers, you never feel like you're at home like kids that live with their parents. You never quite feel that way because you know you don't permanently live there, it's just temporary. Kids lose a lot emotionally in these settings, and it's really important that kids have the hugs and the good nights and I'll tuck you in and something. It's really hard to realize that you can move all your stuff in 2 suitcases and, you know, a couple trash bags, and you're gonna have to sooner or later and go someplace else. By the time I turned 18, I had 2 weeks left in the group home, max, that the law would allow, and I hadn't found a place to live yet. So I didn't really get a lot of time to prepare. I had 2 weeks to find a place and move out, or I would be out and homeless. Travis saw me working at the gas station and thought it was pretty, and then probably a couple weeks later, I sort of moved myself in, and I didn't really have any place else to go anyways.
It's not because they aged out, it's what happened before for the last 10 or 12 years. That's a prelude for disaster. So back it up 12 years to when that child was 6. Get that child with a family member that loves and cares. And when the going gets tough, won't say, I'm sorry, this placement's disruptive, put him somewhere else. Or I want to go on vacation, put him somewhere else. Or I have too many of my own kids. Or my husband had a heart attack, or I'm getting divorced, put him somewhere else. That doesn't happen in a biological family.
Human beings are very deeply geared towards attachment. We cannot tolerate loneliness. We cannot tolerate being by ourselves. We cannot tolerate being just flecks of dust traveling through the universe. We need to be connected. And of course, our most natural connection system are our families.
That's my mom, and my little sister, and my littlest brother when he was first born. That is my grandmother with my brother when he was at Chaudière. I managed to stay out of the system a little longer than my brother. He started going into group homes when he was 9. So I don't think that really left much of an opportunity for him to experience anything really normal. I was in several less places than him, and some were not as harsh as the ones that he was in.
Shit. Micah?
What?
Who did you call?
The jail.
Look at me.
The jail. Jail. Jail.
I ain't asking for more. I'm my own man. I got my game plan to work with these hands if I got it. Any little thing to get $1. Begging on the corner, getting all up in your wallet. I don't give a fuck, homie. And that's the word of me. A foster kid let loose, living up in the street. Yo, I gotta keep it G, make it through another day. Fuck the government, partner, and that's all I gotta say.
I don't like my mother, so they transferred her from Galen Women's Correctional Facility to Deer Lodge Community Hospital. And as soon as she had me and she was able to walk, she walked out of the hospital and got an escape on her record for it. And just left me in the hospital, so. Had to be about 8.5, 9 when I went into my first group home. I felt the more I was in there, the more criminalized I got. So it didn't help me being in treatment centers, jails, group homes. My actions got me where I was. If some of the circumstances weren't there, I wouldn't have done all the actions I did. But I didn't get enough chance to be a kid when I was a kid. Now that I'm an adult and I can't fuck up no more. I'm on a court case right now for something at the mall, I guess breaking down the door or something, I don't know. And it's over $1,000 worth of damage to the fucking bathroom door. You know, no big deal, right? Well, it's a felony.
First matter today is State versus Baldwin.
My brother got picked on a lot, and I think that's where his tough image today comes from. At this point, he's just become what he hated so much.
Inside I feel angry, seen so many changes. I've traveled the world, slipped through so many places.
Why they face such tremendous challenges as they're abandoned by the government is because of the fact that many of them did not have consistent, loving, and safe relationships in their lives as children, and it had profound effects on their human development.
I have a hard time connecting with people. That's one thing that I'm still trying to conquer in my relationship with my boyfriend. So I think that all started with feeling the way I felt being moved from place to place. It's easier to not care about someone and then leave, rather versus caring about the people and then having to leave and then knowing you're going to have to do it all over again.
It's the fallacy that the state can be an effective parent. The state's a terrible parent. And they move from family to family to family and placement to placement. And people are surprised when they're damaged. Every child that enters the foster care system is damaged to some extent.
Studies seem to suggest is that the act of being moved to foster home was as destructive, and possibly more so, than the original trauma, abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, neglect that caused them to be removed from their original situation.
The cost of sometimes being protected from abuse and neglect is, in our current system, is irreparable brain changes. That's a rather frightening consideration, that the limbic systems in these kids are now being reported to be very different from that of their peers as a result of this unhealthy stress that they experienced by a prolonged exposure to a system that was intended to be temporary.
Angry a lot. I was very angry. That's about all I was all the time. I guess one of the only ways I could feel anything else was that if I cut myself, I would feel more. I would feel regret, I would feel sadness, I would feel a little bit of happiness, which is all sorts of messed up when you think about it, but at least I was feeling something, right? Sometimes it was almost more of a punishment to myself, which doesn't make sense. I'm not even sure what I was punishing myself about, but I know that's what I was doing. Medication, they don't use it correctly, especially treatment centers. I think it's used out of context to maybe control more so some of the issues you have, but maybe more to make you drool and be calm. I think it's pretty interesting that I function really good now without them, and I was given a lot of them, and I had I could name you a lot of problems that they diagnosed me with, and now I feel completely normal and seem to have no problems being off my medication.
What all have you been diagnosed with?
Gosh, let me think. I had borderline personality disorder. I had manic depression. I had, I need to go get paperwork and look, but ODD, oppositional defiant disorder, but I've been told everyone has that.
Then kids become angry and despairing, and so they get diagnosed with depression, bipolar, and they get medicated up, and it ruins their lives, actually. I think the medications are just it's a terrible, terrible thing.
At NIBH, this treatment center I was at, I was over-medicated, 1, and 2, I was given, everyone, like all 100 residents were given Seroquel. Now, how do all 100 residents need Seroquel? Do you want to tell me that?
These kids need to be provided with experiences that rewire their system that has become damaged by all this sort of stuff. But unless we have a diagnosis that is correct, and not bipolar disorder, conduct disorder, oppositional defiant disorder, all that's nonsense, we cannot do that.
We have to get serious that the primary intervention done with them is to connect them into healthy, safe, and permanent relationships, whether that's with their own family or with another.
It would have meant a lot to me to have a permanent placement, especially if it was a family versus a group home or a treatment center, because I think I would have led a more normal childhood. I don't think I would have continued to exhibit all the problems that I was exhibiting, and maybe I wouldn't have run away all the time, and maybe I would have felt loved, and maybe I'd function better as an adult in some relationships. And if my mother can't take care of me and my grandma's too sick and that's all I have, then I guess I'm sort of screwed on my family. I don't know who my father is. That would be because my mother doesn't know who my father is.
Every day, people try to convince me that their children don't have a father. They do. Those fathers represent more than just being a dad. They represent fully half the relatives the kid has on the planet.
And if you could find a father, that's great, but then you might have to deal with the fact that he doesn't want anything to do with you. But what about the rest of his family? Would they care even if he doesn't? That's awesome, because I am missing a huge chunk of my family. I have to figure out who's going to walk me down the aisle someday. And if I knew who my father was and if he wanted to be involved, maybe that would be helpful. Or if I knew who my father's father was and he wanted to be involved, maybe that would be helpful.
We just want to answer one question, and that question is, how big is this family? These families are much bigger than any of us ever thought. Other states have been finding relatives in Montana for children in foster care. Montana families love their kids. They're responsive to their kids when they're called. And the question for Montana's child welfare system is, how will you make sure that those calls get made? The other states are calling your families now.
Thunder, heel. Kids that lose family, lose things like that, they don't want just strangers that are just gonna disappear when their treatment is done. Heel. Carrie Hodick was one of the best caseworkers I ever had. She hit a patch of black ice on a bridge and rolled her car, and she passed away. My mom had just died, and then I got appointed this new lady who was really great, and she was helping me out and really nice, and then she died too. Since I was 15, since my mom committed suicide and I went into the group homes and whatnot, started traveling, hitchhiking, hopping train. There's nothing here for me in Missoula anymore. They're like, hey, Raif, you want to go to Zambuki? Sure, man, where's that at? At the time, I don't even care where it is I'm going, as long as I'm going somewhere.
I have no idea where Raif is. Then I did try and call his number that he had several times, and it has since been disconnected. Raif can quickly find friends to do things with, and I could see him very easily making a fun time out of his birthday, but at the same time I could see him being very alone, sitting under a bridge and wanting to self-harm. That's the stuff I lose sleep over. And that makes me question my job sometimes.
We're asked to do the impossible. We're responsible for 20 kids that have been pulled out of their families, and it's our job to keep them safe and to connect them back into a family. We have limited resources, we're responding to crisis, and we don't have much support. You get a very exhausted workforce.
I wish I could help these kids more on a personal level, and how I'm limited in that I can't, not only because of professional boundaries, but also just because of time and for my own personal health. I can't commit to being a permanent, lifelong adult connection for them. And because I know I can't do that, I don't want to begin that sort of investment.
The fate of young people in the foster care system is tied to the experience of government social workers. The two loneliest people I've met in America's foster care system were a long-waiting teenager and their social worker. I don't think that we'll really see real improvements in the system until we improve the conditions that social workers face in their work.
I've been from place to place, searching for a connection, more than just affection. My urgent need is direction. Losing my mother and father was the only transgression. Lost and all alone, no family for my protection. How can I find stability when there's only rejection? Around every corner, every day, it's the same question. Will I stay? Will I go? Any day, I won't know. I never know where I'ma end up, so I stay on the low. When temporary becomes forever, how do you go? Is there hope for me? I see if it's in my horoscope. I won't hold my breath because my life is full of disregard. It's raw, and it's cold, and it's harsh, and it'll hit you hard. It's doubtful that a good outcome is in the cards. The life I'm leading is lonely, I'm not getting far. Aging out of the system has left me with a scar. But instead of giving in, I'm keeping my head to the stars.
I am getting my GED today. It became really important for me to go to college because if I don't get in and, have that financial support, I'm never gonna go. And then I would probably be upset with myself for the rest of my life. I'd like to do something that's helpful to the community, actually betters it, just maybe to be happy in life and turn out to be something I want to be instead of what the world wants me to be. It would mean quite a bit because then I could go on to maybe have my dream come true, be an important person. I know how I don't want to end up, and that's a really big drive for me to succeed. And it's not fun being me all the time.
It's raw and it's cold and it's harsh and it'll hit you hard. We developed a leather crew because we were all kind of lacking and something we felt we all needed and pulled together and became real good friends. My brothers are all I got, and they know that.
I sit here a while and people walk by and they share me their smiles.
Oh, I was bullying for a lot of reasons. I had a lot of pain about my dad. Just the pain of not having one and everyone else having one. Why was I never adopted? Because I look like this. No, because I'm too old. Nobody wants a kid with all his baggage. I should be wearing my sling right now, but the leather boys are all out today, so it's like, no.
What right now keeps you going? What's keeping you moving forward?
My hope to travel next summer. My hope to find someone to love. Love. Hate it, but I love it. Honestly, that's what's gonna make me happy someday. Is a wife. I need one.
I got liquor and I got a spot. We ain't gotta worry about no cops. You know what I mean? And then
I'm a street kid. I never worry about cops.
I know, but we gotta worry about our kids, bud. We gotta worry about
dude,
our kids.
I don't ever gotta worry about leather crew, dude. These guys are, these guys are scary as fuck sometimes.
I don't know them.
I did get my results for my GED test, and I passed with like flying colors. And I have applied to the College of Technology, and I've been accepted.
Judge Harkin, the last 2 months in jail, I feel I've really changed my outlook on the way that I've been living my life. I was born in prison, and that's the last place I want to go to. My girlfriend is pregnant right now, and I need to be there for her and my child. The last thing I want is for my child to start off like me. I do want to change if given the chance.
And being from one place to another, Your Honor, Micah's life is certainly not a life that we can all be proud of. Standing before you is not only Micah, but the system itself. He stands before you with one last chance to make his life fruitful and productive. I hope this court will be lenient in providing to Micah hope for his future, Your Honor. Thank you.
I got out of jail today. I was in there for like 2.5, 3 months. So they just released me today, went to court, and they give me a 3-year deferred with a 6 month suspended to run concurrent, which means that if I fuck up, then they're gonna put my sentence together, make me do both of them together at the same time. But I hope I don't mess up again, so.
Like, I went from Raif, the street kid, hash master, weasel, to employed Raif, not smoking any more ganj, trying to get his life together. To be able to get a job and get a place meant more than weed and traveling. People were all surprised and shocked, and it was like, hey, I choose to be a street kid. And actually, just yesterday, I almost left. I got dumped from my girlfriend, who I was actually really starting to like. She was really pretty and really nice, and she dumped me over MySpace. I couldn't do it anymore. I wanted to leave and go somewhere else, because that's what I know. I know the streets. I know it ain't gonna hurt me, because I know how to work the streets. Like, I know how to be out there and survive and be fine and be happy. I don't know this. I have noticed a pattern. I have, and I'm completely willing to admit it. Every time I get a job, every time I get... No, that's not true. I want a long-term relationship. I want a good girlfriend. I do. There's nothing actually in the world that I want more. I'm a very, very lonely person. I'm an orphan. If a person doesn't have the will and the strength to survive, and they don't want to, then they won't. I'm still alive and kicking. I've had plenty of times I could have just laid down and died, but I've always woke up.
So basically, you can just let them know that we talked the other day and that you're interested in trying to find your dad. The search basically will produce names and, I think, contact information for every relative that's related to your dad. You ready?
Sure.
Okay. Hello?
Hi, Mandy. How are you? What can I do to help? Let me know.
I'm kind of interested in trying to find out who my father is. Probably around when I was 15, I was talking to my grandma, and she, just about, not having a dad, and she kind of just gave me this name that my mom had given her when I was a baby. He was considering signing the birth certificate and backed out of it twice.
Tell me a little bit about your mom and her family.
She got into drugs and prostitution at a very early age. There's 4 of us children that I know of, and we all have different fathers from what we can put together.
Did you ever have an experience quite like this where somebody sat with you and was like, I'm going to find your dad, and this is how we're going to do it?
Never, no. I've had a lot of attention focused on me and my mental well-being, but maybe if somebody would have sat down with me and done this, that would have helped fix me.
struggling child, a broken home, a lonely heart, a lost soul. No friends around him, no place to go. Ain't got no family, the streets he roams, trying to find somewhere to go. As he walks along some lonely road, he cries at night as his sisters hold him. It'll be alright, his mother told him. As time goes by, he continues growing. He lives his life, not ever knowing where he will ever belong. And he wonders, when will he make it out the storm?
Have you ever imagined if it could have been different and you could have invented what would have worked for you? What would it have been?
I needed someone probably to love me, like, at that point, but
Was it anybody, or were there particular people?
Just someone.
So one of the things I said I would do was just run a report to see if we could get contact information for a man who you think might be your dad. And I did do that, and I do have that report. And it does show this person currently in Montana. And the question we're at this point is how you want to use the information. And here's a very valid answer, which is I don't want to.
My boyfriend's father has actually even offered to potentially walk me down the aisle someday, and I don't know if I was to look into my father and start to get to know him, if he would just be a stranger to me. So I don't know, like, if that would be what I want. I don't think that's what I would want anymore, actually, as strange as that sounds, but I guess the power of knowledge, like, really helps. It really helps put my mind at ease and give me a different perspective on my thoughts of a father. At one point, I was kind of like, oh, I want to get married, but I don't know, as we get to know each other better, not saying I don't want to marry him, I think we've both come to the conclusion that we're really not in any huge rush to get married. I think we're kind of taking the time to try to enjoy.
See the shadows surrounding me, and I just can't get away. I feel so cold. All this darkness inside of me won't let me out this place. Give me back my soul, and I feel dead. My heart is holding the heart of evil. My anger's burning again. Inside I feel angry. Seen so many changes. I've traveled the world, slipped through so many places.
I need to get out of Missoula and go where I have a plan, you know? If you've ever wanted to see a kid smile like it was Christmas, you should have seen the day I walked into the Rainbow Gathering. I was just, I fit in. It was so cool.
I've talked to you about Kevin Campbell, the guy that does the family finding work. And we've talked about that a couple times, the idea of like finding family members, parents, other family members that you've lost connection with. I mean, have you thought more about the idea of connecting with your dad or with other family members over the last year?
They're not my family. Not in a mean way, they just don't mean anything to me. I don't care about them, they don't care about me, and it would just be weird and awkward to be like, hey, you guys are related, now you have to love each other. There has not been a person that has worked harder for me than two people. I'm not religious, but God rest her soul, Carrie Hodick and Angela. Carrie Hodick died coming to pick me up for court, black ice, and flipped her car and died. And I told her not to even bother giving me a caseworker again, because anyone that got assigned as a parental guardian over me died. When she passed, I was just a file on her desk. When she was alive, I was a person. I was somebody that mattered to her and that she was helping.
Did you go to her funeral or get?
I wasn't invited. I wasn't told where or when it would be or anything.
But she was one of the most important people in your life?
At the time, yeah. Actually, ever since my mom died.
So how did the relationship with Angela end as a person that's really important to you? What? Tell me about that.
Well, she just quit. She had to move. She had to do something else. Yeah. And I understand that, and I don't hold it against her, but it still sucks.
What kind of impact did that have on you for her to just leave out of your life?
It hurt. It sucked. It was stupid. It makes us feel like we're even less wanted. Our parents didn't want us. Now you're giving this guy my file because you're sick of dealing with me. And nobody just invests the time and sits and listens and cares. And then when we become 18, we start slamming heroin and drinking 40s. All day, all the time. My heart hurts because I love so much. My heart is so big. It really is. Now life's not so bad when shit hits stuff, and it's just my best friend, my best friend, my best friend's dead. When I was gone to New Mexico, some swag-ass yuppies came along here and wrote, "Pay us." That's not kosher.
So did you ever think a year later you and your sign would still be here doing the same thing? When you wrote that?
Yeah. I just figured I'd still be doing the same old thing, trying to find a girlfriend, being a street kid.
Damn. When you get to be my age, Raif, you're not gonna be able to sit on the corner because your body's gonna hurt.
Dude, my body hurts so bad.
Oh, man.
Every day, it really does. It fucking hurts. I don't know how to spell prostitute.
P.
Wait a minute.
You gotta read the other two there. P-R-O-S-T-I-T-U-T. E.
Damn it. Yeah.
So now you can't say I never taught you anything, right?
I know.
I taught you how to prostitute. So I just got laid off from my tumbleweed job.
Why?
Well, ultimately it came down to funding.
Ah. Where's Gage? He owes me. I'll break his legs. I'm sick of being ripped off by friends. You see him again, you tell him I want to talk to him, please. I'm sorry, I'm not mad at you.
It's all good.
And tell Gage I want my money, too. Or...
Gage is homeless.
Well, yeah, well, so am
He
I.
doesn't have any money. He's never had money. He's not gonna have any money.
Well, he's gonna pay with his legs, because when I make deals, I pay for it. I'm a street kid. I've been homeless way longer than that kid's been fucking... That kid's a Trustafarian. He drives around in a car. Do you see me with a car? No. He's a half-assed humbug.
I have enough problems. You see the bruises all over me?
From who?
So I have fucking shit to do.
Well, then quit dating swag-ass guys, Leah. Fuck, I worry about that girl, dude. She really does get herself into a lot of trouble. What's cracking, Captain?
This life I live is a lonely road. Where I end up going, I'll never know. If I could turn back the hands of time, then I'd do it just to free my mind.
Hey, Doc, hey, come on. Hi, baby. I grabbed a tiki torch, and I've breathed fire. I messed up this time. Like my face, sometimes when I play with fire, I get burnt. When I chase girls, I get brokenhearted and in another state.
The last time I saw you, you were saying that you were thinking about icing yourself, you said.
I was just at a really low point. I was having a hard time making it by. Good boy doesn't mean get up, chops to the dirt. Excuse me for a minute. Kick your butt. You listen to me when I talk to you. It's just, I'm done. I'm beat. I've had it. I've done a lot in a very short amount of time, and I'm exhausted. I aged out of foster care about 20 months ago, and I've left Missoula about 45 times, approximately about 45 times.
Is there a one-sentence description of what you're looking for right now?
Love, happiness, comfortableness.
Have you found it yet?
No.
I don't think any of us are denying that we were fucked up kids. Like, I don't think a single one of us is like, oh, we were perfect and we were just angels and all this happened to us, because that's not true. Like, we're admitting, like, we had issues, we needed some help, and a lot of us had some pretty wicked problems, but they were just dealt with in the wrong way.
We've lost some generations of kids, but we've got to take care of the next generation.
We spent $8 billion on the foster care system in 2006. 7 of every $8 was spent on the cost of maintaining kids in placement. There has to be change in the federal financing. You get reimbursed for the number of days you have youth in care, as opposed to preventing youth from coming into care. You're reimbursed greater dollars to buy more intensive services, and that depends on the youth becoming sicker, not better. The state should be rewarded for those successes, not rewarded for our failures.
So the big news of the day is that Becky Shipp called. Becky's one of the co-authors of the Fostering Connections to Success Act. She saw the film, she heard their stories, she was moved, she was inspired, and she wanted all of us to come out to Capitol Hill. It's huge. And going to Capitol Hill is going to make a difference. Getting all of us from Montana all the way out to Washington, D.C. was not an easy task. In particular, getting Raif to D.C. was a challenge. First of all, we had to find him. As it turned out, he was living in New Mexico.
Pardon me, pedestrian, spare penny for a poor, piddle, pathetic, pot-peddling, panhandling punk pioneering to purchase a pot and a pint tonight. Pretty please!
He agreed to go to D.C. with us and was excited, but in street kid fashion, he did not want to fly. So we got him a Greyhound bus ticket from New Mexico up to Missoula, and then he took the 3-day Greyhound from Missoula all the way out to D.C.
Got an hour ago, my mind is spinning around, get out. You guys want to know?
This is the last look untouched.
It's kind of like my dress tie. Instead of putting on a suit, I figured I'd get a tattoo.
My life has changed.
I'm pretty excited. 1, I've never been on a plane. 2, I get to meet some senators, so.
I'm not sure where this road leads, but I'm going, yeah, I'm going. I'm not sure how I will get there, but I'm going, yeah, I'm going. I don't like this crazy circus, but it's all I showing. It's hard to see anything, but right now I keep rolling and just keep rolling.
We're here, we made it, I'm not in jail. I still have my ID on me and everything. We were coming towards it as we were coming in. He was like, oh, look at that big building. I was like, holy horseshit, it's the White House. And I'll warn you, before we get in the car, I smell like a 3-day bus ride.
It's pretty daunting that a little Montana girl is going to be able to maybe have a national effect on what happens with the foster care system. It definitely makes me feel like I matter as a person.
It's good to come back and see the source, all the crud I fight against, I guess, but it's going to be an eye-opening experience. I'm going to get to see and experience a lot of things that I haven't yet.
This is really different than Montana. That's where Lincoln is, right?
I see all these things and I realize all these things in my mind and in my heart, and I want to change it and I want to make the world better, but there's no chance. I've honestly come to the conclusion that I'm just going to have to sit back and wait to die. I want to make a change. Not in a mean way, but it's something to do, you know? It's something to put myself into and to take up some time until I die, I guess. When am I gonna die? I am unhealthy. I don't take care of myself. I get in a lot of fights. I'm always saying, you know, just in conversation and BSing with my buddies, 25.
I was talking all the time when I was in foster care, and I got shut down every single term. I got shut down or tuned out. What I had to say didn't matter, and so I can't even describe to you what this feels like to be able to come and have important people listen and want to help make a difference.
Like, I helped write the Fostering Connections Act, and I just had this vision in my head of somebody who would never know me, would never know this, like, one person had done this, but that somehow doing this and putting this all together would make that better. Like, that's why you're here, that's why we have this.
Would you let it out, or would you be ashamed of what they come to know about? I guess the point of what I'm saying is you never know, so don't be so quick to judge, let it go.
That's something I never thought I would see, is 1 or 2 people potentially making a huge difference and starting, I guess you could say, a revolution.
Would my life be the same with a different mama? Or would I be the same man without a father? I often wonder what it's like.
If they take a picture, I'll tell them pictures are $1. I'm a street kid, I gotta make my hustle, DC or not. This is who I am. I'd shake their hand and look them in the eyes the exact same way as if I was wearing a suit.
Keep walking with your shoulders back and head high, and thank God every day that you're still alive.
I love big cities because like you can squat everywhere. There's 1,000 dumpsters. There's 1,000 different abandoned buildings. There's the underpasses for like the railroads. There's already sofas there for you. Sometimes there's company too. That's street code. You got your gear. In my case, that's everything that belongs to me in the world in my backpack, on my back. This is actually my mom's box. I carry it to hold my sentimental things and just things I can look at and think about and remember. Things I don't remember, like being that small and cute. This was me, my sister, and my mother. We lived in the house in the background for 14 years. Freshman year, I was about 265 pounds in that picture. You kind of got lost in the transition to dumpster. This was me at 14, 285 pounds. This is the only picture I know of me at my biggest. I wasn't anything that I wanted to be back then. I'm happy with who I'm turning into and coming to be, and you know, and I'm definitely not done, you know.
there's just more and more change to be had, you know, and hopefully more and more of it is for the better. This is a baby book my mom made me like a year before she died. This is a level sheet from KBH, which was Kids Behavioral Health, and I spent 9 months there when I was 14. I was lied to and pushed into this place, and it was hell. I've got pages of the most pitiful, sad letters to my mother that I wrote all the time, and I might have gotten 3 or 4 from her. They visited me twice in 9 months at 14 in a different town. There are certain things that come up and that have been in my past that make me unhappy, you know. But I don't spend my days unhappy. And I do nothing but spend my days searching for happiness and trying to be happy.
Garbage.
We're on our way to meet with Jim McDermott, who is one of the champions of the Fostering Connections Act. It's important to meet with him because the work is not finished yet, and we want him to stay committed to foster care reform.
Mandy.
Mandy, nice to meet you. How do we stop this from happening, that 30,000 kids age out after all these placements and they're disconnected?
It's an interesting question, how you stop it. That's like asking the question of how do you eat an elephant? You eat an elephant by one bite at a
time. We're also going to meet with Senator Grassley because he's the co-chair of the caucus, and we want to hear his vision for foster care reform.
Yeah. Some people can help a lot, some people just help a little. It's kind of like how do you eat 10,000 marshmallows, you eat one at a time.
I was living with my uncle and my grandma because the Jehovah's Witnesses had disfellowshipped her from the church. And when you're disfellowshipped, no one's allowed to talk to you from the church, you know, other than family. But they told me to give her more incentive by telling her that I wasn't going to talk to her, you know, until she got reinstated. She said, I hate you and you're not my son, and she hung up. And I never talked to her again. I found out I think it was 2 days later she committed suicide, and then they found her 2 days later after that. And actually, I need a cigarette right now, so I'm sorry. I'm going to smoke.
Showered up. Cool.
Shaved.
Are you shaved even? Nice. Looking good. After the conversation that you and Kevin had last night, I guess you talked to him about reconnecting with some former staff, reconnecting with some family.
We all got together and were having dinner and having conversations, and it went towards the family finding. At this point in time, I really don't have a family, or any family, or know any family. He offered to help me find some of the group home staff that, you know, I really liked.
Okay. I haven't sent this email yet. Is there anybody else that comes to mind that we should include? Staff workers, or... What about Angela?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. What he needs is full names of your mom, your grandma, your grandfather, and your father.
Okay.
And then he wants age and birth date. Then he says check mom's death certificate.
ANNE.
Toxic effects of morphine. I couldn't do anything about that whole deal. You know, my family, you know, growing up as a kid, they were crazies. So many of them, man. And just, even my mom, I love her so much, but she was nuts. I'm not saying any more names. Hey, Matt, have you ever looked at this? No. Should check it out, man.
Yeah, it's a little black book.
Kind of, and it's not a journal, so don't, you know, feel bad. I think that's the love song. I'm just a man not on front, I don't know, and one day she will be there. That one.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, I need coffee, weed, and cigarettes. Change I'm interested in is just real change, period. I don't care about their grants and their, you know, their money. It's about living people.
Change comes from the people themselves, like inside the people themselves. I think it has a lot to do with emotion, knowledge. I think information is key, so I'm really hoping that we all gain some from both sides.
You know, we spoke at dinner last night about looking for some people important in your life, and I've done some of that work, and there's one of your dear friends standing by for a phone call from you, if you're up for it. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? Sure. So Angela would love to talk to you. Is that okay?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
awesome.
wait here. Let me grab my phone. We'll call her right now. You ready?
Yeah.
I think she's excited.
Hello? How's it going? Hi, Angela. I'm good. I'm in Washington, D.C. Bye. Thank you so much, man.
Come here. Hey, good job.
Thank you.
All right. Okay.
Sweet.
Senator Landrieu and I formed the caucus on foster youth to give older youth in and out of foster care a place where their voices can be heard.
It has a devastating toll. Like, these kids are trying to connect and they're pushed away at every door, and it's like, I know the caseworkers, they definitely can't be the ones to always talk about, you know, sex education and what should you do on your first date, but if they don't, who does?
My experience in the group home was that I didn't get to do anything. I missed prom my junior year because of dirty laundry. They called my date and told her not to come.
If I wanted to date somebody, I had to first explain to them I was in a group home, tell them what that was, and then if they weren't already running away, I would have to bring them to the group home and have my staff pretty much interrogate them, get permission from their parents. There were some good placements that I had, and I actually sabotaged them because I figured might as well do it now than wait for them to send me away later.
Somebody decided that I was depressed and that I had bipolar and gave me risperidone, and I swelled to 285 pounds. No time flat. Medication is not a cure for bad parenting.
Did anyone ask you about what family you have?
Once we were removed from the home, neither of us were asked about our extended family members. There were a lot of them that we had. I don't think any of them were aware that we went into the system.
A lot of the kids that you might run into come through the group home. Some of them look tough and look scary. They have face tattoos. but I got a heart that swallowed everybody in the room.
I'd like to invite Senator Landrieu to make any comments by way of closing.
I think the system is pretty much broken. And I think the sooner the professionals, including senators and congressmen and governors and mental health professionals and social workers and everybody understand how broken the system is, the sooner we understand that we're spending $8 billion a year, which is what we're spending in the system, and getting extremely poor outcomes, the faster we'll be able to respond to the heartfelt and real needs that these young people have. I think one of the first and simple answers is to try at the earliest possible time that the system or the community or the neighbors understand that there's a problem in the household, to make a quick analysis of whether that child can be raised by this parent or these parents. And if not, the quicker the decision can be made for them to be adopted or given permanent guardianship or kinship adoption by another family that will raise them as their own children. And I just have been in a lot of these meetings. I've heard these stories. I don't see it getting any better. So that's why I'm the co-chair of this caucus, and Senator Grassley and I are going to come up with some radical solutions, because I think the situation demands it. Because they weren't just failed by the parents that brought them into the world, but they were failed by everybody time and time again. All they want is someone to love them. And I just can't for the life of me figure out how we spend $8 billion a year and can't find them a family. And I tell you, our country, it is just a crime and a shame. The money we spend and the lives we wreck and the memories that they have to keep for the rest of their life that will never go away because of what we're not doing for them. So let's do better. Thank you.
When you said that, I was like, wow. If you listening, you felt like, oh my God, everything I feel and everything.
Thank you very much. I felt like I wasn't heard. I really did. Every time that lady said radical, my anarchy tattoo twitched.
Travis and I have just had some problems in the relationship. We just had a talk last night and it was really hard, and we're definitely breaking up. We are having kind of an argument, and I guess at some point in the conversation, what was being asked of me, basically, it was either lie and tell him what he wanted to hear or be honest. And I didn't want to have to lie. In the pit of my stomach, like, I feel like even though this sucks and this is like the worst I felt in years and years and years, like, I think it's definitely the right thing to do. Never really had to live on my own. Basically, this is almost like turning 18, like all over again. And feeling like you don't know what to do or how you're gonna do it.
What does home feel like? I have made my way around it. The only thing I've found is swinging doors.
I guess something just changed with me. Like, I think there's a bigger world out there than I thought. Seeing some of the stuff in DC was helpful in showing me that there's not just me going to work and me going home, and the world's a lot bigger than I thought it was. To sing, not to necessarily be famous at all, but I think music is something always clung to, and so if I could have a life that involved music on a day-to-day basis, I think that would be really awesome.
I've been wandering down
Mandy and Raif have been getting invitations from people all over the country who want them to come share their experience of what it's like to grow up in America's foster care system. Mandy's first stop was to go back to D.C. for the final caucus meeting of the summer.
I think you said something like, I wonder if a little girl from Montana can change the system. And I'm happy to tell you that you've had a really big part in doing that. From, May to now, we have paper.
Even though my time is served and I can't, go back and change the things that have happened when I was in care, I know that the kids that are in care now and future kids that will be in state care will have a voice.
I do sort of think of you sort of as the godmother of this. And what we did in May and the fact that, you and Raif were so willing to come and tell us stuff that we didn't know, set the model for these sessions that we've done over the summer. I kind of feel like, you've brought so much to us, can you just maybe just tell me for me what it brought to you, what it meant to you?
After meeting everybody in D.C. and meeting you, that the world is a bigger place and I don't have to live quietly and just say, well, this is what the world expects of me, so this is what I'm going to give it. I know that I have a voice now and that people want to hear it and that I can make a difference.
Next, Mandy and Raif were invited by Max Baer to present to the Pennsylvania Children's Roundtable Summit for a crowd of attorneys, judges, and social workers.
Good suit.
Thanks. Yours is nice as well. I like it.
Thank you. You know me, I spend hours getting ready every day.
Oh, yeah.
How can we change our system for the better? What's the one wish you have?
The thing that I would like to see happen is for permanency for youth, because I just cannot fathom why 500,000 children spend the rest of their childhood in a system that's supposed to be temporary. It's supposed to be temporary, and these kids will stay there until they turn 18 and have no connections with people, because it's not something that's encouraged, raised in such a professional environment where there is no love. There isn't any love there. It's not normal, and that's 500,000 children. And I don't understand why there aren't more programs that can find these children. There's got to be people out there that want children. I don't understand why children have to be raised in a system that was never meant to raise them. It's not fair. And, we're supposed to be tomorrow's leaders.
You're literally changing the lives, the path for thousands and thousands of kids across this country you won't ever meet, but it just gives me chills to think about what your story is going to mean for kids forever, for years to come.
After DC, I went to the National Rainbow Gathering with some friends. I met Miranda. She's the best relationship I've had in years. I've changed my views in the fact that I'm done being homeless during the winter.
Since the breakup with Travis, I've been doing good. I've moved in with a new roommate, a coworker of mine. I'm still working at Sears, still going to school. Life's been busy, life's been better.
Their last stop was Washington, D.C., to meet with Senators Grassley and Landrieu to hear about the progress they have made towards radical child welfare reform.
really sort of set the model. Those 6 sessions have resulted in a paper. My hope is that this will be the framework for legislation to be considered hopefully sometime next year.
We've just seen that a lot of things are in action right now, and a lot of that's thanks to you and your staff.
It's been very helpful to hear from your heart.
We can fix this. I mean, 30,000 kids aging out is a high statistic, but it's something that we can do something about.
You're supposed to Senator.
S-E-D-R-I-E.
At the event last time in Washington, D.C., you were talking about radical reform. What's that looking like?
A new way to allocate federal dollars. So instead of the federal dollars, which is about, $8 billion, basically funding the foster care system, the $8 billion would fund the children in the foster care system, the ones that come in and go out and stay, so that the money will follow the child. I guess the short answer is we want to make the funding more flexible to meet the best interest of the child. Do y'all have a plan for Raif, or what are y'all thinking about? Or
I want to be a landowner. I want to own about 5 acres.
Good.
Build myself a home and live there.
Live in a more rural setting.
Out in the woods.
All right, farmer, let me know when you get that. Okay, great.
For a street kid with a face tattoo, orphaned at 15, pushed around in the group homes, and homeless from the next 3 years, to be on Capitol Hill in front of senators and Congress members and important, influential people in our country, hell yeah. Hell yeah. It makes me feel like I've done something for someone else somewhere else.
I think if every kid in the foster care system just overnight magically could be heard, be asked what is wrong or what they want fixed and be heard, I think the foster care system could be fixed overnight, literally.
Here I am, see my face. I'm trying to tell you, I'm trying to tell you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Take my hand, walk a while. Oh, I'm trying to tell you. Yes, I'm trying to tell you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
As a private citizen, when you think about what can I do to help these children so that we don't have more Mandys, we don't have more Raifs out on the street, there's so much you can do.
Every citizen in America has skill sets that they can put to use to help children. Now, they might be thinking, I don't know what that is. They talk to an organization like Auberly and say, here's what I have to offer. Tell me what you need. We can always make a match for people.
So first start checking around in your own family and see what's going on with kids. And if you've got some kids you can't account for, get nosy and get in their business.
Think about being a loving, supporting foster parent for one of these children and helping them move to permanency, either adopting them yourself or finding a family for them that would adopt them forever.
If you have a friend or a friend's kid who's in foster care, go ahead and stop in and check on them.
Kids need people in their lives that are permanent and that care and that want to listen, and that's not something a lot of foster care kids have.
If you will join and support us in the work that will be done in the House and the Senate, and give us your ideas about what the standard should be, that's a way of helping us.
Tell them to stop paying this huge amount of money for kids being placed in facilities that don't end up helping them.
Together, we can find real, loving, and wonderful permanent solutions for these young people.
As my life rolled down these highways, in search of a better home, yeah, I know there's miles and miles behind me, a victory of hope, yeah, I know someday you'll find me in a place I'd rather be. I thank you for your kindness, it means the world to me. Come on. And it's all because of people like you, I can really smile again. It's all about the love in you. I don't have to ride from place to place. Don't have to ride no more. Don't have to ride no. This is where my heart belongs. Don't have to ride place to place. Don't have to ride no more. Don't have to ride no more running away from home. Don't have to ride no.
My life was filled with sadness to wash the pain away. Yeah. Now my days are filled with gladness. Days are filled with gladness. Brought a miracle my way.
America, as my life rolls down these highways.